Hello and welcome to tutorial 7 for GTTK Stats. In this tutorial we are going to be looking at backgrounds and races. Backgrounds inform you what your player was up to prior to the start of the game and can affect their stats and are most prevalent in RPG games. As always, we have copied out our previously completed tutorial into a new scene, and I've also added these 5 box colliders that are going to help us assign our race and our background. Normally these are done at character creation, but the system can handle it at any time. So let's jump into our stats database. Now, before we get into actually creating the backgrounds and races, let's do a little housekeeping. We're going to go into attributes and we're going to add a new attribute that is going to be used by one of our backgrounds, and we're going to call this Scholar attribute. And we're going to mark it as hidden because we don't want it to display in the UI. And we're going to go to our damage modifiers and we're going to add group names to them. This will allow us to select from a group rather than having a list that we manually add, which is fantastic if you are adding in new things post-release or even mid-development. So we're going to name this damage resistance, and we'll copy that because we're going to put it into the other 3. We'll assign an icon as well. Okay, and next we will do vulnerability. We don't have an icon for this one yet, but it's not showing up in the UI for anything at the moment, so that's okay. And finally we'll do damage immunity. And we do have an icon for this, so we'll assign that. Okay, now that that's complete, let's go ahead and look at making a couple of backgrounds. Our first background is going to be an athlete, and this will be a description of lowers stamina regeneration delay and increases regeneration rate. And traits can be added to backgrounds, classes, perks, and races, and they allow us to add in several things. So to begin with, we have the same info that we do for everything else. Because these traits aren't going to be directly visible in this tutorial, we'll go ahead and leave this empty. We have the ability to set when it unlocks, which we can do either immediately, at a character level, at a class level, or by an expression. Most of these we're going to unlock immediately, but in race we are going to do one that unlocks at a character level. So let's go ahead and add the modifiers. So we will be targeting stamina for both of these, and they will apply until removed. The first one is going to target the regeneration delay, and it's going to subtract 0.75. The second one is going to target the regeneration rate, and it's going to add 2 plus level. So just like everywhere else, we are able to subscribe to changes in stats. So when our level goes up, so will our regeneration rate, as long as we are an athlete. Let's go ahead and create our second background, which is going to be Scholar, and this will be increases XP gain. And since our XP gain is actually done through this effect area, we aren't going to be able to do it with a stat modifier, but we can do it with our attribute. So we're going to have an add-on attribute, all in list, and we're going to select our Scholar attribute. Now in order to make that take effect, we're going to go to our XP area of effect, and we're going to change this value to 5 plus has attrib, and we're going to double check that we spell this correctly. So we'll just uncheck the auto gen and copy it. So if it has the attribute times level, so as we level up, we'll gain more and more XP as long as we have this attribute present. So that takes care of both of our backgrounds. Let's go ahead and create a few races. We'll start off with human. And you'll see that you can have a parent race ID. So even though you can only be one race and one background at a time, you can have sub-races. So in this example, let's say we have a dwarf as a top-level race that has a couple of traits. And then we have a hill dwarf that is parented and a mountain dwarf that is parented. If you select either of those two, you'll get their traits as well as their parent trait. So this trait we may show somewhere in the UI, so we're going to name it adaptability. And we're going to say humans are very adaptable. Select one adaptation. And this will unlock immediately, and we will be able to pick one damage modifier from group, and this will be damage resistance. And we're going to add another trait, and this is going to be pretty much the same thing. It's just going to be adaptability 2. And this is going to unlock at character level 3. And we're going to pick a damage modifier from a group. And again, we'll be excluding ones that we currently have. So next we will do an elf. And this will be natural immunity. As an elf, you are immune to poison. And finally, we will do dwarf. And this will be hardy. As a dwarf, you are resistant to slashing damage. Okay, so we have them all created. Let's go ahead and save this scene and get ready to start applying them. So we'll go to race selection first, and we're going to select all 3 of these. And we're going to add a trigger by 3D collider. And we're going to do on enter, drag in the player, and select player character stats, set race. And we'll select these one at a time and do elf, and human, and dwarf. And then we'll come down here to the backgrounds. We'll do the same sort of thing. Trigger by Collider 3D. On enter. Drag in the player. Player character stats. Set background. And one will be an athlete. And the other will be a scholar. We are now all set up and can press play to see how this works for us. So if we select the player, we will see that we have these damage modifiers from previous. So actually we'll stop it real quick and remove the modifiers that we had from our previous tutorials so that we can make sure that we are only getting what our class and background is granting us. So let's go to become an elf real quick, and as soon as we step in, we'll see we have poison immunity. And if we become a human, that will go away because it removes our elf race and allows us to select a resistance. So we'll go with fire resistance. And remember, this one has unlocks based on level. So let's go jump into our XP here and level up a little bit. And And this is our previous thing that we were able to get on our level up. This is our level up reward. So we'll select thick skinned, and then we can also select cold resistance. So we can see these items here. And if we go and enter into Scholar, we'll see that our XP goes up faster. And if we go into Athlete, let's actually bring our stamina up real quick. If we pop in, we'll see that our modifiers have been added, so we are a lot faster to start regeneration, and our regeneration also increases quicker. And you can just pop in and out of these guys, changing your backgrounds and classes at will. So we'll jump in one more time just to see what happens when there are multiple levels to deal with. This isn't the thing that I recommend doing in your game, but you can if you wish. So I've removed human to become a dwarf, and I'll go back into being a human, and we'll see that we have the two options because we were already leveled up. So that will do it for this tutorial. In our next tutorial, we will be looking at classes and multi-classes. Until then, thanks for joining, and I hope you have a good one.